I'm BJ Dorman. I'm chairman at CEOSPACE, and I'm here on CEOSPACE TV. Probably my favorite guest, we don't get him very often, is Harry Lay. He's a CPA in a Big 8 accounting firm in his old life. He's worked in a number of important places. In the past, he's built a lot of the Walmart stores for a number of years in an architectural firm. So he did that on a really exciting scale. I think they put 400 Walmarts in 1 year, which is no small thing to administrate and run. He has been in merger acquisitions for some pretty wealthy players and advising them on their ramp up their merger acquisition strategies. He's a key strategist to help you have strategic plans to exit, to make sure everything has value on the way up and you accent your resale price. Helps a lot of the companies here negotiate their sale price because we help you go to that IPO, we help you do the resale, and we negotiate with you to help you defend your share price. And Harry Lay's often used for that bottom line analysis and review.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Bernie, for having me on CEOSPACE TV.
They want to know what the mechanism is, you know, after they unpack what is really going on here. What is the details of how they make money and get customers?
Well, when they unpack and come downstairs, they're going to find hundreds of people waiting for them to ask them, what do you need next? What is it that you do? How can I help you? Right off the plane, right out of the airport, and right into the room, that's what they're going to find. It's really cool when you have the CEO of a $100 million company asking you what can they do to help me in my business. Mm-hmm. Totally unsolicited. It's a little overwhelming, in a good way. One of the things that I find myself saying to almost every client I have, sooner or later, is it sure is lonely at the top, isn't it? Because there's really no one that's the CEO or the president of the company can really talk to. For 8 years, I was the president and CFO of a company that grew from 40 people to over 600 employees in 5 cities. And even though I brought in people I trusted, I'd worked with in the past, the fact that I had president after my name changed how they interacted with me.
Yeah, and you sense it,
And it was, and things that they knew that were broken or needed attention, they didn't want to be the messenger to tell me, and I couldn't do anything about it.
You get so screened,
Yes, and so, and yet, if you're the president of the company, who are you going to talk to in the community about problems we may be having that could put the company in a bad light? And I still have a company today, Bernie. Well, who am I going to talk to about my company? Here I am, a business consultant, a trusted advisor to CEOs, and yet I have issues too.
Yeah.
I can't wait to get here to counsel with you and some of the other faculty members to help me deal with my own challenges. Students that come here, they're coming to hear you speak, coming to hear me teach. They help me. People come here because there's something about their business they wish was different. People come here who are very successful already, but they want something extra, and they get it here. And the kind of people that come here and thrive are the people that are willing to give, just give unconditionally. And what happens, we can't outgive other people. And it's this whole spirit of cooperation is amazing to witness.
One of the things I kept hearing about CEOSPACE before I came was everyone kept telling me about how everyone worked in cooperation. And I frankly didn't believe that. I didn't see how that would ever really work. So I came here for the education, but the first day I was at a forum, it was a Sunday, and after all the classes and everything that I really enjoyed, I went down to the lobby where everyone was sitting in circles, and they were doing what we call snap circles, where they'd go around and they'd ask one person in the circle, what do you need, what are you doing, and what do you need next? And I thought that was a nice way to network, so I sat in the circle, and there were some heavyweights in the circles. There were some CEOs that were quite successful, and there were other people that were very early stage. They got around to a little lady that reminded me of my mom. And they said to her, so what are you doing and what do you need next? She started talking about her business. Well, some of these guys that really had a lot of experience, some of the ones that were CEOs of companies that were actually doing quite well, they started leaning forward and giving her ideas, doing what we call plussing and making suggestions on how she could monetize her project. And I was watching this happen, and suddenly it dawned on me, why were they doing that? Because she had nothing to give back, and that didn't make sense in my world, where I thought a win-win was the best you could do. She had no business contacts, she had no skills, she had no experience. There was no way they were going to get a win. They were only helping her because they wanted to help her. And I've been a believer in CEOSPACE ever since then, and I've been a believer in cooperation. It is the only way to do business.
Could you explain the mechanism of the engine of the meals and the appointments that follow up after?
I'm so glad you asked about the meals, Bernie. Of all the things that I enjoy about CEOSPACE, it's my favorite. We get 6 people around the table, and everyone that goes around the table explaining what it is they do, why did they come to CEOSPACE, what do they need next. And every single person gets heard at that table. Everyone else around the table then responds to what they need. So we have 6 people around the table. Each of those people are coming around asking for what they need next. And the rest of us around the table have these appointment cards, and we're filling them out. Someone may be asking for a contact that they'd like to have a chief financial officer. Someone else may be looking for a branding instructor or a marketing instructor, or strategic planning, whatever. And people fill these out, and probably 50% of the time that person is one of the 5 people you're sitting around the table with. And they meet right there, and they make an appointment for 2 hours later after dinner, and they start building a relationship, and by the end of the week they're making deals. And if someone's not at that table, there's probably someone at the table that just had breakfast. We're at lunch now. They had breakfast with somebody that person needs to meet. I've actually seen them grab them by the hand, take them across the cafeteria or the meeting room, and introduce them to that person right there. They exchange business cards, and they make an appointment. And Bernie, it's magic.
You actually get to choose who you want to eat with. All of our superstars, consultants, everyone from one range to the other are there, and a table of 6 people sit down and have lunch. We have lunch together. They listen to what you need. One of the big things at CEOSPACE is that when you really get into the attitude of giving to others and paying attention to others, you get so much more.
Every single time I had an opportunity to share with somebody what I do, they'd always ask, what am I looking for? So I'd say a promoter or an agent. I get a call from a promoter/agent who came to me through a connection from CEOSPACE. And as a result, I have now been cast on a national television show.
On an integrity basis, we hold the faculty to a very high standard. In other words, we tell every guest we want them in the highest integrity, but we want to example that to them. So we audit ourselves, assess ourselves, hold ourselves accountable. And it's pretty high standard, you know, it's tough.
Yes, it is. As a faculty member, I come and I teach 1 or 3 times a week. I'm in front of a group of people, especially at the meal tables, every day, and yet I'm not selling. I'm not supposed to sell. I'm here, all the faculty is here to help the people that came here looking for that help. Occasionally we get people that violate that, and you've demonstrated over and over again. Our faculty integrity team enforces it, they're gone. And people think, well, you know, that's kind of tough. Well, I don't think it's that tough. I want to think I'm a person of integrity. And you commented earlier, I used to be a CPA. And one of the reasons I joined the profession is because their ethical codes were consistent with my personal ethical codes. CEOSPACE is a place where I can associate with the board, I can associate with the faculty, and we've all made that commitment to give, but to do the right things. And yeah, it's tough, and it may sound bad in the business world, but I'm not threatened by it all.
The environment of cooperation, which sounds kind of touchy-feely, airy-fairy, but there's a lot of structure to it. I could say I would probably get 20 times more contacts in one day spent here than 6 months going to chambers and going to networking groups and things like that. Also, the reach and the depth and quality of the contacts that I make here far exceed what I could otherwise do on my own. And it's because of the community, and it's got decades of high quality, build upon build. I mean, you know, in the earliest days, they started with chicken soup and went up from there. I've met Les Brown here, Tony Robbins has been here, you know, some of the Success famous people, but I've also met people you may have never heard of, like Harry Lay. He's a CPA, or as he likes to say, a recovering CPA. And he's someone who is probably one of the best strategists that I've met in terms of, you know, organizing your vision and having alignment, have it being in alignment with something that makes sense financially. Ed Bogle, he's another great strategic person. He's great at looking at a market segmentation and figuring out what part of the market you want to focus on first and get your sequence in marketing. And also other strategic planning areas. I mean, there's name after name. I could drop names all day long.
Can you define the cost in business of not having this resource behind your sales as an extra win force?
I don't know how to put it in dollars and cents, Bernie, but it's a lot of times when people come here and they're wanting something different about their business, we discover that they've been wanting something different about their business for 2, 3, 6 years. And actually, I call it the business owning them. They may have a successful business in that it's making profits, but they're just not happy there. They're not fulfilled there. And they'll come here, sometimes kicking and screaming. Sometimes they just heard of us and they'll come here. How many times have we heard, if I'd only come here sooner?
Every time.
So
I hear it all the
those
time.
of you that are watching this presentation, that are hearing CEOSPACE for the first time, what is it about your business you wish was different? I'm Harry Lay. You can have my contact information. Call grads, call members of the faculty, people that have been here, and tell them what your issue is. And is there anyone at CEOSPACE that can help us?